Why you should play Fire Emblem in 2024. In my opinion, Fire Emblem is one of the greatest game series of all time. The footage you will be seeing in the background is from my most recent playthrough of Path of Radiance on the GameCube. This is the game that introduced us to Ike. Do you know how hard it is to find a Fire Emblem fan in the wild? It's like trying to find a streamer without a HelloFresh sponsorship. Like trying to find a gentleman in an Xbox 360 COD lobby. The actual inverse of how often you see a Raid Shadow Legends ad. Anyway, you get my point. For those of you that don't know, Fire Emblem is a strategy JRPG game originally released in 1990 for the Nintendo Famicom. Fun fact, the game was almost never localized outside of Japan. Imagine living in a world where Ike, Marth, and Roy only exist in Smash Bros, like some sort of alternate reality fever dream. The series didn't hit Western shores until 2003 with Fire Emblem, the Blazing Blade, on the Game Boy Advance, which is just called Fire Emblem because localization teams thought our tiny Western brains couldn't handle the full title. Since then, we've had a cascade of fantastic games, from the hardcore tactical delights of Fire Emblem Path of Radiance to the waifu simulators of Fire Emblem Awakening and Three Houses. Each game combines intense strategic combat with rich storytelling, memorable characters, and a level of difficulty that can make even the most hardened gamers cry. Seriously, losing your favorite unit in a permadeath run feels worse than stepping on a Lego. Don't even get me started on the music. Every track slaps harder than a belt in a WWE match. Even the game over screen sound, after watching Ike get obliterated for the umpteenth time, gives me hope for the future. Now let's talk about what makes Fire Emblem so goddamn great. First off, the tactical combat. It's like chess on steroids with anime swordsmen. You have to think several steps ahead, plan your moves carefully, and adapt to ever-changing battle conditions. It's the kind of game that rewards patience, strategy, and a healthy amount of stubbornness. And then there's the characters. Each game boasts a massive roster of unique, well-developed characters, each with their own backstory, personality, and relationships. You don't just send nameless soldiers to their doom. You send your best friend, your virtual brother, or perhaps the character you're secretly hoping to see in a swimsuit in the next DLC. And speaking of relationships, let's not forget the support conversations. These little dialogue snippets can turn a generic army into a beloved family. You get to watch your favorite characters grow, bond, and sometimes even marry. It's like The Sims, but with more slaying of despotic rulers and less peeing on the floor. And for you Fire Emblem vets out there, all two of you, did you know the permadeath mechanic was almost scrapped during development? Can you imagine? We'd be living in a world where a Fire Emblem playthrough has no stakes. But alas, they kept it in. And now we all have those war stories about that one time we lost our best unit to a 1% crit, but definitely didn't rage reset our console. Another gem of the Fire Emblem series is the sheer variety of classes and skills. You can have a team composed of everything from knights and mages to ninjas and shapeshifters. It's like assembling the ultimate fantasy Avengers team. Let's not forget the unforgettable stories. Each game weaves a tale of political intrigue, epic battles, and heart-wrenching sacrifices. Whether you're overthrowing corrupt empires or battling ancient dragons, Fire Emblem delivers narratives that would make George R.R. Martin blush. Despite its compelling narratives and unique gameplay, Fire Emblem almost met its end. In the 3DS era, sales were tanking and Intelligent Systems was ready to pull the plug like your gambling uncle waiting on a life insurance check. But thanks to a passionate team and a last-ditch effort to make the best goddamn game they possibly could, Fire Emblem Awakening was born. This was supposed to be the last game in the series, but due to a surprising amount of sales, the series was reinvigorated, paving the way for two of my favorites, Fates on the 3DS and Three Houses on the Switch. So whether you're a veteran tactician or a newcomer ready to dive into the world of swords, sorcery, and waifus, there's no better time to start playing Fire Emblem. Trust me, it's a game series that'll make you laugh, cry, maybe even throw your controller in a fit of rage, but you'll love every second of it. For the newbies out there, I'd recommend starting with Three Houses on the Switch. It's a great launching pad into the series with its fantastic quality of life updates, customization options, and replayability via your choice of house. It's basically 3 games in 1. For you vets, go play that game that made you fall in love with the series in the first place, like me revisiting Ike and Path of Radiance here. And if you're still around, thank you so much. Please consider supporting the channel so I can keep making more videos like this about the games and things I love. This is my first long-form video, and I'm thinking about making it a series where I go over the histories of video game franchises. Let me know what you think down below.